Have you ever watched a news program with a crowd surrounding a prominent individual shouting questions at him as they were walking? Mr. President, did you see? Whatever. And sometimes there's an exchange, but sometimes a person just keeps walking without saying anything. Well, when I was thinking about these scriptures today and reflecting on them, that image came to mind. That scene came to mind as I read the gospel for today's Mass. The gospel began by saying that so many people were crowding together that they were trampling one another underfoot. Try to imagine that scene. And then it says Jesus began to speak, but first to his disciples. So now he's speaking to us. What did he say? Avoid hypocrites. They just tell you what you want to hear. They promise you everything, and they rarely deliver anything. Beware of them. That was one thing he told them. So they're walking. Now another thing, be careful about what you say. It's going to come back to haunt you. What you say in the dark will be heard in the light. And what you have whispered behind closed doors will be proclaimed on housetops. Now, some prominent people found that saying to be rather true these days. They said things when they thought their microphones were off, but they weren't off, and the whole world heard it. All those old emails and old derogatory comments 10 years ago. Well, that's what Jesus was referring to when he cautioned his disciples. Don't be a hypocrite. Today, what with cell phones and surveillance cameras, it has become less and less likely that any unsavory behavior can enjoy the cover of darkness. That's all. That's what he's saying. Jesus and his disciples kept walking, and the subject of evil came up. Who wants to talk about that? So Jesus cautioned them not to be afraid of someone who could kill the body. Rather fear the one who not only can kill the body, but kill the soul, sending it into hell. I can only imagine what the disciples were thinking when he said that, but they kept walking. We're not told what the disciples said or how they reacted when they heard Jesus explain that. But by this time, Jesus had said quite a bit, a lot of it which was heavy. And it appears to me that he felt he had to assure them that although challenges were to be expected, such as hypocrisy and existence of the evil one, he assured them that all would be well, not to be afraid. After all, was he not concerned about the smallest of birds? Why would he not be equally concerned about each one of us? And then he said, well, I have all the hairs on your head counted. Words helpful to hear, but maybe less so for those with shiny heads. Lastly, his words in Luke chapter 12, verse 8. I tell you, whoever acknowledges me before men, the Son of Man will acknowledge him before the angels of God. I haven't said too much about Teresa of Avila, other than the fact that she was a brilliant mind and wrote some of the most beautiful books on prayer and engaging in prayer. But I can only imagine the conversations that she had with her brother religious and sisters, who in her estimation were corrupt, and she had to reform religious life at that time, and the Carmelite order. That's why we had these discalced Carmelites, because she said we would now go barefoot and we would beg and we will put our house in order. And she did.